This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I'm going to be sharing both a mixture of something that sort of occurred to me the other night, and also talking through it kind of for the first time as well. So please bear with me as we go through. But I suppose really listening to the marketing within the fitness industry. But I mean, take this for what it is in your industry or anything really. Even looking at the Gillette ad, at the core of it, it's got a message, but it's still a lot of marketing for an organization, a corporation. I know there's a lot of conversation behind that, but there is still a component that is just marketing, and a lot of businesses, a lot of industries actually are just marketing industries. Even, gyms, and a lot of gyms aren't actual health businesses or educational facilities. They're subscription businesses. You never see the owner in a lot of the big gyms because, sometimes you do in some of them, obviously, but in some of the bigger ones, because they're not interested. They want a subscription business. They're the same as any other, Audible subscription business. Same fucking thing. So the interesting thing around a lot of the marketing for health products, health and wellness, is now coming into that space as well, is this idea of you're not good enough, right? And there's two things that I want to bring to light. One is a thought that I kind of want to unpack, and the other one is a conversation from many years ago. And I'm going to start with the thought, and then I'm going to go back to the conversation, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the thought I had was this idea of imperfections. And what's really interesting is how often people go, I just want to clear up my imperfections. Any variation of that, right? Even as a male, like, I've still looked in the mirror and be like, oh, my chest should be bigger because of, all these sorts of things. Like, still pick it apart, and it's known as body dysmorphia. It can be known as a whole range of things. I mean, often we're seeing body dysmorphia as opposed to lack of confidence or lack of understanding of self, or, not identifying as the body and realizing we have a body, so on and so on and so on and so forth. There's many things to unpack, but the interesting thing around this idea of imperfections and going, well, I would like to clear up these imperfections that I have. It's like, okay, well, if you have imperfections, could you please point to your perfections? It's like, I don't think I have any perfections. So what makes you think you have imperfections? Right? If nothing's perfect, then what are the imperfects? This is what's really interesting. It's like, what is the comparison? Oh, it's the media marketing. Sure, there's probably a certain level of that. But really, it's like, well, if you have imperfections, do you have perfections? It's like, no. It's like, well, then, why do you think the things that you have are associated with your body, and I'm sort of keeping it to the body for the now, are imperfections? How should they look perfectly? At what age? When? On whom? On you? On someone else? Is it the same for your daughter? Is it the same for your son? Is it the same for your sister, your best friend? Is it the same for your father? So it's sort of looking at this and going, maybe they're not imperfections. Maybe they are exactly what they are. And it doesn't mean that, this whole love your body thing, it's really interesting because I want to go into that conversation now. It's like you will never love your body until you learn to love your body. And it sounds strange. And I remember talking to the Merrymaker sisters, if you're not familiar with them, Emma and Carla, years ago, and then they talked about it in a podcast a little while afterwards. And they were like, that's silly. And then later on they're like, oh, because you can't hate your body into perfection. Do you get that? You cannot hate parts of your body and hate it into perfection. It doesn't work like that. That's a really miserable way to view this gift that you have to live in. And so I say miserable, and that's a heavy judgment on it, because it's like, this is the only vehicle you'll have. There's nothing wrong with it. Right, maybe there's some difficulties, maybe there's some differences, and obviously there's some people that are listening to this, or maybe there's some people that have some really challenging, when I say imperfections, maybe they've got an extra hole in the heart. That happens. They have a heart murmur. It's like, that's an imperfection. It's like, yeah, but a lot of those people that have that have actually used that to be able to build other strengths that they probably wouldn't have had otherwise. It's like, so tell me, what's the imperfection? You have challenges. Everyone has that, sure. But is the challenge just not seeing, the imperfections? Is that all you see? Well, then you may run a heavy discount meta program, which means that you will always see the things that you don't like in your behaviors, in the way that you speak. You don't want to sound stupid. All of these things. It's just a heavy discounting program, and what you're not doing, you're missing the counting. So even when you do things well, you find it difficult because you don't want to see as tall poppy syndrome. It could be anything. There's so many different varieties of reasons why that could be the case. And so a lot of the time, this is something known as self-care. It's moving into being more kind to yourself. It's all that sort of stuff. But if that sounds kind of wanky for you or corny for you, or maybe it doesn't, but if it does, then maybe it's not about self-care and self-love. Maybe it's just accepting things as they are and then utilizing it to doing what it is that you want to do in the face of what other people think or what other people don't think. Because a lot of the time where our imperfections are going, well, this is imperfect based on how I think other people will see it. It doesn't bother me. I don't care about other people. It just bothers me. It's like, right, it just bothers you. If you were blind, would it bother you? No, probably not, right? If it's an imperfection, in quotation marks, on your body, it probably wouldn't bother you, right? You probably don't know that you have fucking cellulite. So it's understanding that these things are not imperfections. Now, if somebody maybe is carrying more weight than they would like to for health reasons and to be able to get the most out of their life, sure, that I can understand that, and maybe there's some different patterns and behaviors and frames and beliefs and all these sort of things that can be addressed. People can be like, I just need to do it. It's like, maybe you just need to do it, or maybe if you just did it, then sure. If it was as simple as that and you just did it, then yep. But why haven't you done it already? And then some people will literally go and create such a catastrophe in their life to be able to hit rock bottom so they can start again, because in the back of their mind they're still watching those action hero movies of people hitting rock bottom and then building it up, right? And that's how the hero's journey is meant to go for some people. They'll actually catastrophize it themselves. Have you ever seen the person that's like, or know of a person, or been the person where they're like, nothing's gone wrong for a little while, and so they start fucking looking for it. It's exactly the same thing. But going back on that idea of like, you will never love your body until you love your body. It's this whole idea of like, if you think that you have imperfections in this vehicle that was gifted to you, then can you point to your perfections? It's like, well, probably not. It's like, right. So in that case, why are they imperfect? Where is this judgment coming from? Right. And here's another one. If you're looking at other people and seeing their imperfections, where is that coming from? Where is that judgment coming from? The other extension of that, and the last sort of thing I'll say on the topic, is with perfections, if you're seeing it in other people, Instagram's a whole other conversation, obviously, but this idea of seeing so much in other people and continually putting them forward can often just be a way so that you live up to the belief that you're not good enough, you don't deserve what you want, all this kind of stuff. And then when you really start to see that, you live up to that frame. And then be careful, because you may even look at your parents and realize that that's the frame they lived up to, that they just gifted you. Right? There's a whole range of things within that. And so, my biggest offer for you with all of this is, male or female, I don't care. Right, it happens to all of us, is to really have a look and pay attention to when you look in the mirror or when you start to judge yourself, and pay attention to the discounting, to the judgment, right? And then pay attention to the judgment of the judgment, and that's often a funny little vortex, isn't it? And then the imperfections. It's like, well, what are my perfections? Like, and it's not just to go, oh, these are my perfections. It's like nothing's perfect. It's like, then fucking nothing's imperfect. Do you get that? If nothing can be perfect, nothing can be imperfect. Like, sit with that for a while and See how it lands. Otherwise, team, I'm out. One of the things I didn't mention earlier on the podcast is that I am doing a Mood Prep Weekender, and I'll have details up for that. If you're on Facebook, definitely jump on Mood Prep online. On Facebook, it's a free group. I'll be posting more stuff in there about it. It's coming up on the 9th and 10th of March, and going through all the content from the Enneagram through to integral theory and a lot of the other concepts that I do talk about in Mood Prep podcasts. It'll be in Canberra. It's actually being held at my gym, Functional Fitness Australia. Otherwise, if you're interested, definitely check it out. It'll be on my website by the end of the week. Otherwise, I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. Otherwise, team, until tomorrow, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.